Kings and Queens. Good evening. Welcome to Castle Sports Talk. My name is Junior, as you all know, and I got my guy in here making an appearance. Welcome to have you to the team.
Thanks for having me, bro. By the way, my name is Kevin, aka Guata Ortiz. I'll be giving my 2 cents on any topic that wants to be speaking of. So let's get this going.
Yes, sir. You also know a bunch of soccer too, right?
Soccer, baseball, basketball, Celtics. Uh, and yeah.
Let's get it on. So we just watched game 2 of the Eastern semifinals. It was a good one. It was a great one, actually. My favorite part was watching Jaylen Brown mix Grayson Allen. Remember that with the do.
We're going cooking today.
There's a picture of Grayson Allen's face. He's like kind of laughing but bitter at the same time.
I'm gonna be real with you. I hate Grayson Allen. Hated him since he was in Duke. Hated him since after he got drafted. Like him getting his ankles broken was probably the best thing I've seen.
This is good though because I like Grayson Allen. I loved him since Duke.
Wow.
I like the scrappy. I got my boy smart. I like the scrappy players, man.
Oh, he's not scrappy. He's dirty. Is a difference.
That's fair. And he definitely deserved to get dropped because all them dirty plays catch up to you. So what do you think? What's your quick thoughts on game 2?
Game 2 was definitely a different animal compared to game 1. And it's exactly what we needed. Defense adjusted, offense adjusted big time. And I think it was just big to get off to a fast start. And that was the difference. Just like last game, Milwaukee led the whole game. This time we led the whole game and we beat them the same way they beat us. So there's no reason for anybody to say, oh, they got lucky. It was a bad game for Milwaukee. Then in that case, it was a bad game for the Celtics in game 1 too.
Exactly.
So I'm not really worried. I know we're probably going to talk about this after, but the shot selection is probably going to be something that has to be adjusted. But overall, good win.
Why do you say the shot selection?
Too many threes. I gave you the stat earlier. I was looking at this too. They said 93 shots have been threes for the Celtics for the series for first 2 games. 93 have been threes.
That's crazy.
71 have been twos. So we're not taking enough jumpers, and if we are, we're taking them contested, and we're not taking it to the rack. And the reasons because of the rim protection that Milwaukee has.
Yeah, game 1,
in my opinion.
Game 1, we only had 34 twos.
42?
No, 34. Game 1, we only had 34 twos. And then game 2, we had 37. So 30. It's like, damn.
Yeah. See, again, the thing is, whatever they did today, it worked, right? But again, I'm sure Milwaukee's going to go to the drawing board. Everybody has 3 days to rest. Coaches have 3 days to come up with a new game plan. I wouldn't be surprised if this series goes 7. Honestly, I prefer it goes 6 to the Celtics. We have room for one more loss. Rather lose over there than lose here at home, just to keep that home court. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll get to predictions later on because I got some spicy predictions. Let's talk a little about game 1. So I wanted to talk about game 1 on Jaylen Brown and Tatum's performance, man. If you look at the stats, Tatum shot 33% and dropped 21 points. Jaylen Brown, game 1, shot 30% and dropped 12 points. I think that was the reason. And I was trying to look for reasons why our offense didn't work. And I think it was just, they were just missing shots. So what do you think about the big turnaround from game 1 to game 2 for those 2 guys specifically?
For those 2 guys, I mean, we can talk about them too, but honestly, it was everybody, you know. The week layoff was probably a factor into it. Brown is hurt. Like it's May. The season started back when in September. You know, like they're banged up, and you can tell he has a tight hamstring, but he's going to work. You know, so I don't know if you saw, but he's apparently they said that he got into the arena at 3:30. He was already
Yeah.
warming up. You know,
Yep.
so he knows what his body can do. In terms of Tatum, I thought he started off slow in game two too. You know, so playing too much one on one and everything. But honestly, I think it just comes down to um it comes down to them being prepared. It comes down to just a week layoff. It didn't help them, but now that they're back into a groove where they're gonna be playing after this 3 day layoff, they're playing every other day. You know,
I
so
think you used the key word prepare.
yeah.
Prepare because I think game one, I think they were shell shocked. They're like,
Hmm.
oh, snap.
They
There's a
got
lot of
humbled.
hype down low.
They got humbled.
They got humble and they're like, oh, this ain't the Nets. We're not playing Claxton. Like I told you, Giannis is not Durant. They're not playing Patty Mills and they could just go one-on-one against Patty Mills or Irvin at any point. They're not doubling Tatum and, oh, there's Grant Williams at the corner right there. One pass, easy three. And I think they got humbled, like you said, they got shell-shocked and they weren't prepared for what they're coming into. So I fully expected a game two easy win like we had. I was expecting this. And you seen Tatum drop 29 points on
Yeah.
50% shooting, and you seen Tate and Brown drop 30 points on 61% shooting.
Yeah, Brown was on he was on it today. Brown was just something else. And
He has
you
swagger.
can tell, you know, he did. And you know what I like? I like it when they show emotion. You know what I mean? Every shot he was taking, when he was, what was it? I think he was 5 for 5 from three after in the first half. And then it was like in the second half where he got a little bit cold, but
Right.
it's fine. But the first half was when we needed it because we needed to establish ourselves in the first half, and that's exactly what we did, and it led to us winning the game. He had, what was it? I think it was 19 points in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that. Yep.
Career high for him as well in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing we notice about Jaylen Brown is whenever he starts hot in the first quarter, we usually win.
Nice.
He's been the leading scorer in the first quarter for a bunch of games. I don't know the exact number, but ever since January, the shirt that he made, the energy is about to shift. Ever
Yeah.
since he came out with that shirt, it shifted.
Yeah, I think he's really becoming a leader in the locker room and on the court. And I think it's so important. Let me just put my sound off. I think it's so important he comes off on fire, or at least doing his thing and not disappearing, because he's the second scorer. He's not Tatum. So when you have your second scorer really doing their thing and really taking the pressure off of Tatum and really putting the defense on his toes, like, oh, it's not just a Tatum night. We got two, call me crazy, we got two top 10 players in the league balling right now. We
Yep.
can't just, what do we do? You know what I mean? So I think you're right. Jaylen Brown coming out first quarter, second quarter is really essential for our team for the rest of the playoffs.
And like even beyond just those two, you know what I mean? We have defensive player of the year. Finally, we got someone. We
Didn't even
have
play tonight.
he didn't even play tonight, and we established ourselves defensively without him. You know what I mean? That just goes to show how much depth we have. Even though I heard Van Gundy mention that they're very they don't have enough depth in the lineup, which I think that's not true. We have enough guards. We have
They just don't know yet. They just don't know about
well, that's the thing. Is like I hate watching the game on TNT and ESPN because even though I hate Scal, like I love watching the game on NBC Sports. Like it's watching it at home. You know what I mean? So, but they don't know what we have. We have depth everywhere. We have Grant Williams, which I'm not gonna lie, I hated him at first, but he's grown on not just me. I'm sure he's grown on everybody now. So
I tease my friend all the time. I be
yeah,
telling her, because last year she was like, "Oh, get Grant out the game. He's the bum. He's a waste of us." I'm like, listen, I see 3 and D in his future. I see 3 and the reason we had him in when he wasn't really producing because he had IQ. Brad Stevens had trouble trusting Robert Williams because he didn't have IQ. He was slow on rotations. He would leave his feet a lot. Just lacking IQ, things like that, where Grant Williams always had IQ. And one of my favorite things about Grant that I could really appreciate is the culture he brings. I would see him making appearances on podcasts, whether it be by himself or with Taco Fall or with any other person, and you could really hear the culture in his voice and that this dude's a locker room guy. So I really like
Exactly.
Grant. That's my guy right there.
Yeah, no, he earned his Batman status.
I want to see him drop 30 points this series. I don't care how.
Ugh.
I want to see him drop 30 points.
If it means him taking a whole bunch of shots and not passing the ball, then nah, I'm all set. I'm okay with him dropping 15, 20, but I don't know about 30.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
All right, if it does, watch us lose that game.
Nah, you're right. You're right. I was worried about our offense coming into this game, but we switched it around. Now I want to talk about the defense.
Yeah.
Because I never thought it was a problem. I think game one, our defense was fine. But we even stepped it up even more this game, and the Bucks shot 3 for 12 from three today. 3 for 12 from three today. We clamped them on if you look at the numbers and the tape. Man, I loved our defense today, game one, and moving forward, I think we can come out of Milwaukee and get even 2 wins because of our defense. They can't score on us. What do you think about our defense?
Our defense in game one, it was okay, right?
That's fair.
I mean, it's, you want to talk about defense, but the reason why we lost game one is because of offense. You know, we weren't hitting our shots. Defensively in game two, for those who watched the game, you'll see how they played, and they were okay with everybody else scoring. They were just trying to contain Giannis, and it worked. At least in the first half, it worked. Third quarter came, and then they did some things that I was like, eh. And I usually don't agree with Van Gundy, but he made a good point. If you look at the rotations on defense when Giannis had the ball, it was either Grant Williams or Al Horford, right? And when the Bucks were in transition, they'll score easy.
Oh yeah.
Once, because Giannis will get the ball and he'll just drive in and he'll get fouled and make an and one or just make a dunk or whatever. But if you look at this game, every time the Celtics were able to set their defense and they played the half court defense, it was over. Yep. Because you had either Grant or Al on Giannis and everybody else was just rotating. They were rotating. And then in the third quarter, when Giannis got most of his points, they were doing the pick and roll with Giannis setting the pick, leaving everybody else open, which is like, okay, guys, fix this, you know? And then at the end of the day, in the fourth quarter, they did the same thing where it was like, they were doing a pick and roll, but the defense wasn't falling for it. They were willing to leave Giannis open and have everybody else score, which is where those layups came from, if you notice, you know. But I mean, defensively, I think we did much better in the second game than in the first. Again, there's some adjustments that have to be made, of course. It's a 7-game series. But as long as we play with the same intensity and everything, we get Marcus Smart back into that rotation, then it'll add one other person that will allow us to be more aggressive. So that way, if we have to commit fouls, we commit fouls, and we have White coming off the bench, Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench. You know,
I like Peyton's defense. I like Peyton's defense.
You talk about people that are gritty, he's one of them. Right. He has that grit he's pesty. He will get up in your face, and he did that to Bledsoe a couple times, and it messed him up.
And if you're a player and you're like, oh, look at this little white boy, I'm gonna back him down, you better be careful, because he's gonna put up a little fight. You know what I mean? So he's pesky and like unknown. You know what I mean?
Like Jose Alvarado, by the way, he's a beast.
Who's that?
What? You don't know Jose Alvarado from the Pelicans?
Oh yeah. The light-skinned dude. Yeah.
The Browns. Guy's a beast.
The guy who be like coming through and the ball. No, but yeah, I wanted to say about our defense, there's 2 plays. You mentioned it a little bit. 2 plays that I'm scared of is their pick and roll with Giannis setting picks and their one-on-one. Like, if they're getting these favorable calls in Boston, I can only imagine the calls they're gonna get in Milwaukee, man. Like, we gotta, and sometimes we're not even fouling them, man. Sometimes we are fouling them. We gotta, and it's crazy because we have so many players that are good one-on-one defensively.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to do to like stop them, stop Drew one-on-one? And even we stopped Giannis a little bit, but he still gets his buckets one-on-one, gets his fouls. Um,
What do we need to do, bro? We gotta pay those referees more money than the Bucks are paying them. It's crazy. It's like
we gotta, as fans, we have to do our job and send a letter to Adam Silver, man.
and that won't even work either. We'll probably get fined. We'll probably find one of the Celtics for us doing that. Nah, man, it's honestly when it comes to the fouls, I won't lie. They are letting them play a little bit more, but there are those calls where it's like, come on, man. Like if you're gonna call one thing, don't call the other, or like call it both ways or something. There was a foul. I think it was either Tatum or I don't know who. I think it was Derek White. He literally went like this.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a that. It was a
like pianos a little bit.
yeah, like and they called a foul for push off. Like what?
Oh,
It was on a pick and roll, and I'm like, what? Like, but man, that's always been a thing. And if you have Twitter, you'll see how much I tweet about the referees and
word. There was this one play. I gotta follow you on Twitter, by the way. There was this one play where it was Grant and Robert defending Giannis, and I don't know which Williams they called the foul on, either Robert or Grant, but neither of them fouled him. Grant stuck the body, and then Robert blocked it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, he was driving, and Grant went up, and then he went like this. Yeah. But when he went like this, he got all balls, so this shouldn't have been a foul. But it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah.
And also, I wanted to talk about a little bit what you talked about is the pick and roll with Giannis sending the pick. We're leaving the guy to roll. No, we're leaving the guy to just advance from the pick and take the easy layup, and we're just guarding Giannis. I think they could do a lot more pick and rolls and do that a lot more in Milwaukee. I think a way, and tell me what you think about this. I think a way we can combat it. I don't think we did enough, and we started adjusting a little bit, but we should always rotate on that. We should always rotate on that because they don't have Middleton. And who's their next best shooter? Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Drew Holiday maybe, but Drew's probably going to be the ball handler in that. Let's rotate. Let's rotate and leave someone in the three open and keep rotating because I don't like those easy layups. Those easy layups I don't like.
I don't like him either because it can change the game depending on when it happens, like obviously it happened like the end of the game with like 5 minutes left. They were getting the layups. The Celtics, they were trading baskets. They weren't going on a run. No, when they go on a run and they make those easy layups, and that's a problem because then this game is a game of runs, and whoever has the most of them, that's the team that's gonna win, obviously, But the Celtics were able to contain them up until that pick and roll situation started happening in the fourth quarter with Giannis. But honestly, like I said before, it's a game of adjustments. It's a 7-game series. Every game is gonna be different. Where it's just gonna be who's gonna throw the next haymaker, you know what I mean?
And this coaching battle is pretty interesting. You got the defending world champ Budenholzer, or however you pronounce his name.
I hate him, by the way. Him and Nick Nurse are two coaches that I hate the most.
I think Budenholzer would have been fired last year if he didn't win the ring because he made a lot of questionable decisions last year, and they just got lucky with all the injuries around the league, and they were able to win a ring. But Budenholzer against Ime Udoka, probably the coach of the year this year. That's interesting.
Udoka, the coach of the year?
Yeah.
I wish. I wish. They're not gonna give him that. And it's crazy because they're gonna.
What? Why not?
Because it's the NBA and the NBA hates the Celtics. That's why. you know how much it took for Marcus Smart to get Defensive Player of the Year? They're not gonna get 2 awards in one season. I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Ime he's everyone bought into his culture. You know what I mean? Everyone bought into what he has to offer, and they're down for it. And they had no questions. At first, it was a little shaky. It was chemistry issues. They got rid of people who they should have gotten rid of, and it worked. And obviously, what I like about Ime is that he's always coaching. He's not sitting down. You know what I mean? He's not. When he's standing up, he's always talking to his players. Like every free throw, you see him pull somebody. Be like, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and he's a player's coach. and that allows players to buy into what he has to offer, and
He knows how to talk to the players.
exactly.
I think he's a better coach right now than Budenholzer is. I think we're lucky to
I
have
coached
him.
the hell out of Steve Nash.
What was that? Yeah,
I coached the hell out of Steve Nash. Steve Nash was just standing there like a
he had
deer.
nothing to do. He couldn't do anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I
I
like
mean,
it.
this isn't about the Nets series, but I think when James Harden left and criticized Steve Nash on his way out, I
Yeah,
think that just messed up the whole like confidence of Steve Nash that he had and like his really control of the team, and it became kind of like a free for all over there. I'm curious how. I think the Nets might break it up, man, because you can't trust Irvin. Irvin says he might want to stay, but then he'll go somewhere else last minute. Can't trust Irvin. But
he said he wants to resign, and everyone was like, "Oh, we heard that before."
that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
So before we log off, I want to hear your opinions on the series moving forward. Predictions. Um, I'll give my prediction first. I think we're gonna win games 3 and 4. I don't think they could score on us. I think yeah, we're relying on the threes, but they give it to us. They give us the threes, and I think we can make them. I think game 3 and 4 are both going to be close games, closer than tonight, and I think we'll win them both. I think we'll take it easy on them in game 5, and then I think we'll go into Milwaukee and win again. Bucks don't scare me, man. After what I seen tonight,
Yeah,
they don't scare me.
they're not unbeatable. You know what I mean? They're not the best team in the league. We've proven that we are.
Yep.
Like
We got a better team.
yeah, we have a better team overall. I agree with you. So you're saying
I'm a bold take. I love my bold takes. I think we're gonna win 2 in Milwaukee and then close it out in Milwaukee again. Probably no one's gonna say that, but
Celtics
that's
in
what I
6.
think.
Yeah, Celtics in 6. That's what you have.
Celtics in 6. Yep.
I'm gonna go Celtics in 7. Even though I personally don't want it to go 7, but I have a feeling that this series is gonna be a chess match between coaches. So it's gonna come down to that, and I think it'll come down to home court. And on top of that, it's not a series until the away team wins a game.
Yeah.
So Milwaukee won theirs here. We're gonna win ours over there, and I'm sure they're gonna want to protect their home court. Obviously, their fans are not gonna be a factor. I think. You know what? Nah. Never mind. Celtics in 6. The more I think about it, I'm like, nah. Let's just go in 6, and then let's go beat Miami.
I'm not scared of them.
I'm calling this the revenge tour. That's what I'm calling it, because we have, I know we need to log off, but we took down Brooklyn, who beat us last year, right?
Yep.
We got the Bucks now, who's beating us in 2018, 2019.
Yeah, they beat us 2 years. Yep.
And if Miami goes through, who beat us in the bubble? Miami, right?
Yep.
So I'm calling this the revenge tour. You know what I mean? So
I love it.
let's go. I mean, that's you know where it's at.
Revenge tour.
Revenge tour. Let's go Celtics, everybody. Also, Real Madrid plays tomorrow. Completely off topic. Some soccer in there, but Hala Madrid. But that's for another
You got me
story.
on my soccer stuff, man. Send me the info of the game, a time, and I'm a tune in and try to get my soccer knowledge up there.
If you got CBS, it's probably gonna be there on Paramount. It's gonna be at 3:00.
Word.
Manchester City. So it's gonna be a huge game. Is the winner goes on to the finals. So
word, good stuff. Good stuff in the sports world. This is our Castle Sports Talk. Got my guy Kevin. You got Junior here. Awesome game 2. And hopefully we'll make a video after game 3, definitely after game 4, just to talk about what's been going on. And we'll see you guys soon.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Peace.